Safaricom has received approval to buy ESA Telecommunications at $80 million. That's a cool 7 billion. Think that's a lot of money for Safaricom? Not really. We'll explain shortly. If you take a step back, Safaricom makes a profit of roughly 2 billion shillings every month. We get that by dividing the annual profits of 23 billion by 12. When you add back depreciation and amortization of a similar amount, the company will be sitting on a mountain of cash by the end of the financial year. Well, what would you call 50 billion in cash? We add back depreciation and amortization because these are allowed as expenses for tax purposes, whereas actually no cash has gone out of the business. Kenya Revenue Authority allows companies to subtract the wear and tear or aging of equipment over a certain number of years until the assets are fully depreciated. So depreciation increases free cash flow. But Safaricom is a big spender. It blows away about 25 billion every year on infrastructure. Yes, that's on the little dishes on base stations and other equipment that allows 22 million Kenyans or so to communicate efficiently without clogging the system. But most will agree the dropped calls have been rather too many. Well, that's because Safaricom didn't have enough of something else called spectrum to pass through all our calls. The regulator gave everyone the same amount of frequencies, but most of us choose to use Safaricom, causing challenges in its network. That's where the purchase of ESA comes in handy. With it, Safaricom gets 450 base station sites, a data center, and most importantly, a spectrum. Now back to where Safaricom is going to get the 7 billion. We already know Safaricom generates a lot of cash. In March 2014, the company was sitting on 17.6 billion Kenya shillings in cash. The company declared a dividend of 18.8 billion Kenya shillings, which would virtually wipe out their entire cash holdings. But wait, the dividend will only be made sometime mid-December. Add profit to September for the last 6 months from March and you get the additional 12 billion, which means Safaricom is sitting on roughly 30 billion in cash. Depreciation is probably being matched by capital expenditure. So you see, Safaricom will have enough money to complete the transaction and pay a dividend by Christmas without begging for cash from any bank.